Grazie, seguirò l'esempio della collega dell'IES non perché sia una diplomatica ma perché sono italiana, per ringraziare gli organizzatori, il Ministero di Affari Esteri e Cooperazione Internazionale, ECHES e l'Istituto della Scuola di Sant'Anna di Pisa. E ripasso all'inglese. So the European Commission is truly committed, of course, to continue to work and intensify its cooperation with the African Union Commission and with our African partners, as well as with civil society to support democracy. Indeed, this goes beyond electoral assistance, but electoral assistance is an important part of it. This reflects very, very concretely, if you look at our commitments in the Global Europe Instrument, which is our new instrument for the 7 years to come, at the national level, with 42 programs, country programs, really including as a focus area of intervention democratic governance. At the regional level, where we intend to work closely to support the African governance architecture and really partner with the Division for Political Affairs of the AUC. And at the global level, President von der Leyen just last 10 December announced a big ambitious thematic program on human rights and democracy for 1.5 billion euros. This was announced at the summit of democracy convened by President Biden. This instrument is meant to really allow us to continue support electoral observation, but also really promoting electoral assistance and inclusive and participatory democratic processes. One way we are also exploring to step our efforts and join forces, because as it was said, it is important to really work at scale and in a coordinated manner on the ground. One way that we are finding to do that is by launching a Team Europe Democracy Initiative, which Commissioner Urpilainen just launched actually last December, which gathers for the moment 14 EU member states. So of course I also mention it here today because I very much look forward also for a conversation with Italy to see whether there is any interest in joining this coalition. As my colleague was mentioning, indeed the EIU Democracy Index 2021 just was out last week. I also had a look, and indeed, the number of people living in a democracy fell to less than 50%. There is a real sharp year-on-year decline in the average GLOBE score, and this score was only matched back in 2010, following the global financial crisis. So there is really a worrying trend. The worrying trend is global. Of course, Africa also has not escaped to it. And as was mentioned by Ms. Derre, the state of democracy, rule of law in Africa is also facing challenges in the recent years and months with a number of recent military takeovers. There are, of course, also reasons for hope. Just a few examples, Kenya, Malawi, but also Zambia, 2021, with political alternations through elections, and vibrant youth and women and civil society organizations mobilized for democracy and against corruption in a number of countries. I can only mention Sudan or Eswatini, Uganda, or South Africa, you name it. The Afrobarometer was also mentioned, and it is interesting because it shows a lot of variations in the perception of democracy by citizens. One thing is clear, 82% of African citizens reject one-man rule, 77% reject one-party rule, and 75% reject military rule. So at the same time, we see that the young people voter turnout is declining. And support to elections, although remains important, declines from 83 to 75%. And while the demand for accountability, rule of law, and checks and balances is really going up. How can we read this? I think Professor Prodi had told us at the beginning of this conference. In short, there is a strong demand for democracy. The demand for democracy is resilient, but citizens are increasingly disappointed in terms of the supply. And in order to reverse this trend, it is ever more important really to show the value of democracy, to show the link between democracy and long-term stability and prosperity, and also the possibility for credible and transparent elections, really as the cornerstone of democratic processes. So what to do? A few lines from my side to complement the colleague. Of course, strengthening the partnership with the African Union Commission and support the African governance architecture, show the values of democracy by supporting inclusive, transparent approaches, good governance, and also delivering in terms of redistribution of health, of curbing inequalities, and bring really stability and growth, and support to national independent institutions, oversight bodies, civil society, youth and women have been mentioned, and last but not least, promote the integrity of elections throughout the cycle, so really focus on the electoral process, as was so eloquently said. Thank you very much for your listening.